Have you ever played a platforming game that feels like it's so close to being a solid game, but there are things that really hold it back? This is how I felt about MagiCats Builder. Now that's gaming. One of the few things that I want to say about MagiCats Builder is that it has a really nice art style drawn with different characters and animations, and it looks like everything really comes to life with these cute, adorable creatures and other things that you face. But then there's a lot of bad stuff about the game, unfortunately. Before we head into the bad stuff, the game is free to play, so keep that in mind, but there are still things that are in this video and in the game that really can't be excused, and I really hope that this video will have some feedback for the developer to take in. This is one of the few reviews that I really can't find too many good things to say about the game. First off, at least one of the other good things about the game is that you have a great idea with the creating of different levels and the ability to share your link with friends and on social media so others can play the game in their browsers. That is a really cool idea, a creative idea that can have so much potential, but then it goes to the things that are pretty underwhelming. When it comes to playing a platformer game, you really expect the controls to be solid as you're playing as a character going through different environments, different obstacles and enemies. I didn't really get that from MagiCats. There were so many things wrong with the momentum that you feel like the momentum was way too much, especially when climbing up structures. It feel that you went too far if you held the button even for just a second. I feel like it could have been a lot better if the controls were a lot more precise. So going up a slope or going up an obstacle didn't feel like it just gave you too much momentum, and oftentimes I fell off a level or fell off a platform having to retry, and sometimes I even died for it. Jumping off walls, you go too far and you arc too much to the left. You don't have control of just going up a wall and, you know, just having a much better control over your character. And this didn't go well into a lot of the jumps that is presented in the game. So MagiCats Builder has the concept of other people in the community being able to create these levels that you can play, and that is a really cool idea. But when you're playing through a lot of the levels that are user created and you have these controls and it doesn't feel right, it really throws you off, and it's just not fun when playing. That coupled with the numerous bugs in the game. I had a lot of bugs where I crashed or my cursor was missing. I had a bug in the when you're actually creating a level where the top right button is missing sometimes. Even if the controls were not 100% accurate and there were still some bugs in for the new release, this was an early access game, and you know, it released on July 10th, so it released pretty recently, and it still has bugs that unfortunately this has to be fixed for the games for others to really enjoy it. And it's not even only that, the quality control for the levels that people create doesn't seem to be monitored that well. Even the best levels, the top rated levels that I play, didn't feel too good. It felt like there were just things like messed up, and this is a big problem because this is an extension of another game called Crazy Dreams Best Of, where it takes the best levels from MagiCats Builder and throws them into that game, and that is just opens up a whole nother thing I don't want to get into right now. But it's really difficult to have an extension that really drives to have the MagiCats Builder, but when you have these bugs and control issues, it just doesn't go together, and it really needed to be a complete game. And I feel that the developers are really trying, and you know, I received the Infinite Pack, which is everything in the game that you can possibly build. Since this is a free to play model, I wanted to test out how it felt having everything, and it's like the building aspect is the most fun part of the game, and when you're building stuff, it feels really good. There's like a lot of fun techniques and it gets pretty complicated. So there's like this stuff there that is glimmering, but then there's just darkness everywhere else. And coupled with the shop being pretty bad in terms of, you know, prices there. $69 for gems to get these cars, but there's not really a point of having that much money spent when you can just spend $15 to have every single thing. So there's like some stuff with the shop that doesn't feel quite right. Maybe disabling the shop if you have the infinite pack, or lowering the prices would make a lot more sense. I guess since this is also on mobile devices on Apple and the Android store, I can see where the shop would come in. But when you're having this on PC, especially with, you know, the way everything is integrated, that is really going to make people not want to play your game. As I kept playing the game, I wanted to see if there was anything else that maybe stood out, something that I missed, maybe the controls, but even playing on the keyboard, switching to my controller didn't feel good. The sound design was really strange with a lot of loud sounds, especially the mice dying or some other enemies that constantly keep dying. The sound balance is really off. Even trying to turn down the sound, sometimes it would just glitch and it wouldn't even affect the loud dying noises. So I had to actually go into my desktop to turn down the noise, which is a really bad sign. At the end of the day, this is one of the few games where I feel like I really can't recommend it right now, but if there are improvements, especially to the controls and the bugs and maybe a little bit of the business practice, I could then see it being, you know, a much better game. But as it stands right now, this is something I can't recommend you playing. Even though the game is free, I feel like there are other titles that you can play right now. But if the Dreamz Studio team does fix a lot of these issues, or at least most of them, I will then come back with a updated review in the future. But yeah, for now, I would definitely say pass. Here's a question of the day for you, everyone. What was the last platforming game that you felt had so much potential, but it didn't live up to your expectations? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to discover something new on my channel or stay up to date with other indie gaming related content, feel free to subscribe. And you can get started right now by clicking this playlist to see some of my past reviews. Thank you so much for joining me in this video, everyone, and I'll catch you next time.